Hello, what's up, guys? Welcome to Guys Being Dudes Gaming Podcast number 6.
Number 6, that's right. This is the number 1 game podcast on all of YouTube. We put out a video probably every 3 months or so.
About every 3 months.
Every 3 months. So, yeah, let's get into some games.
Let's get into it.
Last time we recorded, we talked about Dying Light and Evolve.
Dying Light and Evolve. We like Dying Light. We did not like Evolve.
Yeah, that was around February, and it is currently August 12th.
It's been a while. I know I say this every episode, but listen, guys, we're going to try and get this on a schedule.
Yeah.
Bring some more stuff. It's just, we're still figuring it out. It takes a while.
So,
but here we go.
So right now, we got, since we last recorded our last podcast, the most recent game that came out was Resident Evil Revelations 2.
Resident Evil Revelations 2.
So this game was developed and published by Capcom, and it came out on February 24th.
And it is a sequel to Revelations.
Yeah. So this is produced and developed and published by Capcom, same people who
Resident Evil game.
made all the Resident Evils.
It's a sequel to Revelations. Revelations was a pretty good game. It was an okay game. It was a good game on the 3DS. It was an okay port for the 360. I played the 360 port. It was all right.
Yeah.
It was okay.
I didn't play Revelations, but you played it.
It was all right, yeah.
And the second one, I played more of it than you did. Now this game, the thing that surprised me about this game, it was episodic.
Yeah.
That took me by surprise because initially when I saw this game was going to come out, I was like, okay, badass, a new Resident Evil game. And I was going to go to Redbox and rent it. And I rented it at Redbox. It was there. Took it home. Stuck it in my Xbox. And then when it started installing, it was installing in episodes, like episode 1, 2, 3. And I was like, really? It's episodic? That's strange.
And then you could download it off the Xbox Live Marketplace.
Yeah, it was like $5 like an episode. And they came out with an episode like each week.
Yeah, which I don't like episodic games.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that. I think it's...
well, why is that? How come?
I just don't... When a game comes out, and especially Revelations 2, I didn't understand why they were going for this episodic kind of thing. Yeah. I felt like it should have just been released as a full game. I don't know if it would have changed anything. I just, like Telltale makes really good games, but I hate how it's episodic.
Yeah.
I hate the fact that I have to wait to play more.
Yeah, and it's weird because a game like this, Revelations, it's not really... I don't think it's story driven too much as the Telltale games are, such as Walking Dead.
It's really more like a television show than anything.
Yeah.
Revelations is more of a game.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I don't know why they came out with episodic because I
think it did make it cheaper because I don't think this ended up being a full $60 game.
Yeah, it was like $25 for all 5 episodes.
Which is cool, but again, it was shorter. It wasn't as, it's not, as we'll go in, it's not that great.
No, yeah, so Revelations 2 is episodic, so that was the first one wasn't episodic, right? The first Revelations?
No, it was a full-on game.
Okay, so this is a new thing for Capcom, I guess, for Resident Evil series. So starting off, first playing it, episode 1, I believe you're Jill. You start off as Jill, and you're like in a jail cell. I don't know how you got there. And then you have another partner. I don't know her name. It's another chick. Anyway, she helps you get out of the jail cell. Y'all walk down some hallways, some corridors. It's real dark. It's kind of creepy at first. It's real scary, and I was kind of digging it.
That's what I thought too.
And I was like, okay, this is badass. Like this felt like kind of like a survival horror. Like I was getting, it was real tense, and I didn't know if a zombie or a mutated monster was gonna pop out
it did do that corner. It started to go back to that horror way a little bit, and that was nice. For when it lasted, for how long it lasted.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, this is cool. I can dig this. This feels like classic Resident Evil, classic horror games. Until it started getting. This is where Resident Evil has been messing up as of lately. It started focusing way more on combat than horror, and it just became a shooter, a third-person shooter, over-the-shoulder shooter. And it just became so mundane and one-dimensional,
and that's
boring.
My exact problem with Revelations was an okay game, but it's so action oriented. But the problem is it's not doing it well.
Yeah,
it's not doing it very well, and it's not doing it interesting. I hate the fact that the enemies are now these biological monsters. I've never really liked that because again, this has always been about zombies, and monsters were always in the game, but it wasn't the focus of the game.
Yeah,
zombies was always the focus of the game. Now you're Jill. It's more action packed. You're fighting monsters. It's just kind of really, really straight away from what Resident Evil was.
Yeah, exactly. And so that being said, the combat's just not that. It's not that great.
I played through the whole jail cell part. I got pretty far in it. I don't think I ever made it out because the controls and just how it was. It just feels it feels dated.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel smooth. It's not. It wasn't very fun. I'm not into the story of Resident Evil at all anymore. At this point,
I don't know what's going on in the story.
At this point, I don't care. I don't want to care. It's so convoluted.
But that's fair to say, because after Resident Evil 6, what they gave us, there's not much to go off of that, you know?
Exactly. The story has always been, the last good bit of story was Resident Evil 4, which was a good, simple story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about simple, but it was good.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 5, not very good. Resident Evil 6,
Just
very bad.
Terrible, yeah.
Very bad.
Garbage.
And then these Revelations game, the first one was, again, it was okay. You got Jill and you got the other guy from Resident Evil.
Chris? Or is it Leon?
Yeah, you played
Chris.
as Chris too. You switched off. You started off as Jill and Barry, I think, and then you played as Chris and another chick.
Yeah.
And that was okay. You switched off between the two. It was all right.
Yes.
But this one, again, is just, it's so boring. It's so boring.
I mean, there's no other word to describe it than boring.
It's so boring. And talk about the co-op, because I know you played it more, so you know more about the co-op than I do, and you actually played co-op.
Yeah, so I wanted to give this game a chance. I got to the first 2 episodes of the game. First episode, if I had to choose any of the episodes, I would give it the best. Will be the first. And as it progressed, it got worse and worse. Second episode was pretty bad, and by the third episode, I got to the middle of it, and I just couldn't play anymore. And it was mainly because of the heavy emphasis on co-op in the game, and the co-op is just, it's not done right. It's really not. I played about the first majority of the first episode with a friend, my little brother, and then the rest of the other 2 episodes I played with the computer. And when you're playing with the computer, if I'm not mistaken, you switch between the co-op partners. So when there's a little segment for a co-op partner to help you, then I believe you switch to that partner. And you play as him.
I just played by myself, so I was just kind of the AI was all right.
Yeah, and so the co-op is crappy because there's mainly only one fighter, one person who's doing all the killing in the co-op.
Which in the first episode would have been Jill. So it was Jill with the gun, and then you had the little girl.
Yeah, well, she's not a little girl. She's the same age as Jill, but she has
about as useful as a little girl.
Yeah, she has a knife, and I believe she has a knife, and I know she doesn't have a gun at all. She doesn't shoot any guns, so she's basically useless. She really does nothing. So yeah, that's basically about as in depth as her character gets as far as combat.
It was really even when I was playing just by myself, she was not very helpful. Again, it really just felt like me doing all the work.
Yeah, just Jill. So that was that. I mean, if you were to play the second person, the second person is probably going to be pretty bored out of their mind because they're not doing much. They can't really help you.
Really and truly. And then as it went on, you got to play as another co-op partner who is even more useless. Yeah, so
this co-op partner that he's talking about was really bad. This is episode 2. You play some old guy. I don't know who he is. I don't remember his name. You play some old guy, and then there's a little girl that he stumbles upon. And she's maybe about 8, 9 years old, 10. I don't know. She's a little girl, and obviously she can't fight zombies or monsters or anything. She's scared of them. So what she does to fight off the zombies, to kind of help you, is that any brick that's lying around, she'll pick up the brick and she'll throw it at the zombie.
Capcom bricks. Bricks. You give us a co-op partner and she throws bricks.
She throws bricks and it stuns them for 2-3 seconds, something like that.
Oh my god.
And the thing is about that is there has to be a brick or an object laying around. So you can't just pick up a brick or object and then store it in your inventory or something because I don't know. I guess she can't carry it.
So she can't shoot guns.
Oh god, no. And
so really she's not very helpful.
Not at all. And the only other things that she does is that she has a sense for zombies. She can see the outlining of zombies. And there's this one insect zombie that kind of turns invisible, has a cloak. And the only way, this was kind of cool, but it was kind of shitty at the same time, just because the mechanics of the game made it very difficult. So there's this insect.
It's not smooth, man.
That it cloaks. So the concept was cool, but the execution was bad. So it cloaks, and then you play as a little girl, your co-partner's little girl, and she can see the outlining of the insect, and only she can see it. And so you press left bumper or left trigger or something like that, and then she starts pointing, and then you move around your thumbstick to point in the direction of where it's at. So then your co-partner is looking, where you're pointing and shooting, so he knows where to shoot, because he can't see it on his screen unless she can see it on her screen.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, well, like I said, the concept's cool, but the problem with that is when she's pointing at the zombie or whatever the insect that she's trying to tell you to kill, it's just you miss every time, and it's really hard to tell exactly where she is pointing because
you're not seeing it from her perspective.
Yeah,
it's a third person, you know.
So like she might be pointing left, and so you look and aim left, but it's not really like pinpoint on because her left is a little bit off from your left. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because y'all aren't, obviously lined up or have the same perspective.
Yeah.
So it's really damn hard trying to kill enemies like that when she's pointing and you're trying to figure out where they're at.
That does not sound fun. That it sounds like a really interesting concept. The only problem with that is, again, this game's execution it's not a great third-person shooter.
No.
It's not a great horror game. It
not
really
enough
kind
story.
of abandons the horror element.
Yeah, not enough story to keep people. At least it didn't keep for me or you. Coming back from the episode.
That's the thing, and it's like maybe people try and defend it and say, "Oh, you didn't pay attention to the story and this and that." The story of Resident Evil no longer intrigues me. I no longer care about all this because it's just one big rat maze.
Yeah,
and it just goes around in a big circle, and it's always Umbrella, it's always this, it's always that, it's always Jill doing something, it's always Chris, it's always the same things. So I'm just I'm done with the Resident Evil story. I was expecting a decent scary gameplay because Resident Revelations, the first one, was okay. It was kind of scary. It did creepy things.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really scary. And this one again started off okay. It didn't get any better. And that co-op concept is really really cool though. But again, the execution of this game is just not up to par anymore.
No, not really. Yeah. So.
I
mean, if you have the chance to pick it up, I wouldn't recommend it because it's not really worth your time. It's nothing special at all. It's just one word to describe this game: boring.
Boring.
So, I mean, if you like boring, go for it. But I'm pretty sure you don't like boring.
And there's really no redeeming qualities that would even make us recommend if you wanted to check out something. If you're a die-hard Resident Evil fan and you have to play Resident Evil, I guess you can get this. Yeah. But this game doesn't look real good. Doesn't play real well.
No.
And it's just So thumbs down for us. Big thumbs down. It's not that fun. Not a fun game.
Nope. So next game we got is Helldivers.
Much better game.
Much better. This was
much better.
Developed by Arrowhead Game Studios and published by Sony. This came out on March 3rd. So you played this game? I did not.
Played a lot of this game. Really like this game.
What's it about?
Really, really like this game. So.
This is on PS Vita and PS4, right?
It's on the PS Vita and it's on the PS4. Yeah. And there's not a great story to go on here. It's kind of cool, though. It's kind of campy. It reminds me a lot of Starship Troopers, if you've ever seen that movie.
Yeah.
Where it's like the super government is coming together and they need you to go out and fight the insects or the arachnids. And they need you to go out and fight the cyborgs or fight the... there's another group. I forget their name.
Yeah.
But it's a top-down twin-stick shooter.
Okay.
And it's a fantastic one at that. Super fun. Super engaging. I really, really like that game. It's a lot of fun to co-op. So you start off in a ship, and you can basically choose your mission and go to different places in the universe that are infected with bugs or taken over by cyborgs or the third faction. And basically, you can go and do these planets by yourself, which I don't recommend. It's very, very hard. Very, very unforgiving. Very, very hard.
Yeah.
So you can get into a pod and search for 3 other players.
Okay.
And basically ship out with co-op partners to go and try and take down these planets. And it's basically, again, just a simple top-down twin-stick shooter with some cool stuff. Like you can use the thumb pad to kind of put in ordnance buttons. And you can call down ordnance. You get a grenade. You throw the grenade. It calls down like a big turret for you, which will help you defend stuff, shoot stuff down.
That's cool. Yeah.
It'll open up, have a machine gun for you. Or it's a nuke. You can throw nukes and stuff. Just really, really cool. There's different objectives on everyone. Like the cyborgs, it's like take out a relay facility. Or the insects, it's like take out their mother hive.
Yeah.
It stacks in difficulty.
That sounds badass. Is it,
It's really, really, really fun.
Does it kind of play like Halo, like Spartan Assault? Like on the Xbox One?
Yeah, much better. Much better Spartan Assault.
Yeah.
Much, much better. It's so fun to play, man. And it's a top-down, simple twin-stick shooter. It doesn't look all that great. It looks good for an arcade game. It's a cartoony kind of game, but it's very fun. Very, very fun.
Yeah, it's cool. And that's
solid. Very solid.
That's like a common theme that you're seeing more and more now with games today is like simplicity.
Exactly, and they get it right.
Right, because it's just you're having fun. You know what I mean?
They tell you to get with a bunch of buddies and go try to beat up some monsters.
Yeah,
it's easy. It's fun.
And it's just a stick shooter, you know what I mean? Like, you move around one stick, shoot with the other stick, and that's it.
Yep, and then you can cross-play from the PS4 to the Vita. Again, man, it's super fun. It's a super, super fun game.
That's badass. And it's not that expensive either. It's like,
no.
$15?
$15, $20.
Yeah. So if you have a PS4, PS Vita, you should definitely pick it up.
Definitely pick it up.
Yeah.
Definitely a fun game. It's a lot better with co-op partners, but it's still a good game by itself.
Yeah.
Just definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
Badass. So Helldivers, thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Very fun.
So next on the list, we got
another arcade game.
Yeah, and this is also a PlayStation exclusive. Hotline Miami 2.
Hotline Miami 2.
Yep. So this game, we both played the first one. You beat the first one.
Beat the first one one night.
Yeah.
Stayed up all night. Oh, man, that game was so frustrating. Headaches, bro.
So the second one, about the same? Just as frustrating? Yeah.
Just as frustrating. A little more frustrating. It kind of made me put it down for a little while because I was just I didn't want to play it anymore just because, again, that difficulty is just, it's brutal. It's brutal.
So this game was developed by Denaton Games and published by Developer Digital. That's a strange name. And I came on March 10th. So
Devolver.
Was it Devolver?
Devolver. They made a couple other cool games.
I can read my handwriting.
They made a couple other cool games.
Yeah.
Very, very graphic games. Very gory.
Oh, yeah. Also, explain like the style of the game, like the way it looks. And
lots of neon. I don't know. Lots of neon. Lots of really bright colors.
Yeah.
It's like an arcade beat 'em up.
Yeah.
And it's top down. You can use bats, knives, crowbars. You can use guns. You can use a bunch of weapons. But the goal is to start at the level. You can equip a different mask, which gives you cool powers. And you basically have to reach the end of the level.
Yeah.
And it's simple as that. But it's just I love the art style. It looks really, really cool. It's a really cool looking arcade game.
It looks awesome. Like it's kind of like 64-bit a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It's like a throwback to those old games.
Yeah, and
Super Nintendo.
The soundtrack is really awesome for that game.
Oh yeah,
too.
yeah.
Love
the soundtrack. Fantastic soundtrack.
Yeah, it's really like eerie and like real upbeat tempo sometimes.
Yeah, it's almost like dark club music where it's like
check your computer real quick.
It's like you're going through.
Sorry.
That's fine.
All right, I'm just checking, man. All right, so yeah. Anyways, it's real upbeat tempo music, badass graphics, a lot of gore.
Really cool. Really cool. Really liked it. Again, the art style is nice.
You know what? A game like this, it's kind of like an arcade beat 'em up. How long is it? Like 4 to 5 hours, 6 hours?
If you sat down and you played it, it's like 4 or 5 hours.
Okay.
It's like 4 hours. But again, it's almost an arcade score tag game, so you can replay it and get masked, and it's got a lot of replayability. It's really, really fun.
That's awesome.
The only knock I would really give it is, it really is hard. I feel like it's more unfair than it is difficult. But again, that just might be in the moment of the level. I get past it; it's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, definitely.
It's got a really interesting story. It's really hard to explain because it's a really, really psychological story where you're in a character and you don't really know. You're supposed to be shooting a movie, so it's kind of hard to tell the difference between real life and the movie. And so you're killing people. You're not sure if you're actually killing people or it's just a movie or this and that. You know what I'm saying?
That sounds pretty good. I think it's a good narrative to it too.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. The first one was really interesting too.
Dang. And
it's a really, really cool game.
How much is like $5, right? Or something like that, $10?
10 or $15.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly, but it's cheap. It's an arcade game. Definitely recommend to pick it up. It's a fun game. It's a really fun game.
Yeah, Hotline Miami 2 is, from what I hear, fantastic.
Cool art style, cool stylistic game. Good soundtrack. Really like the soundtrack. Keeps your beat pumping and add that adrenaline. That's what it gets. It gets that rise out of you. Where you just, badass combat and a cool narrative.
Addictive gameplay too.
Yeah. The only knock on it again is difficulty is sometimes unfair rather than challenging.
Yeah.
But still, really good game. Recommend it.
Hotline Miami 2, big thumbs up.
Big thumbs up.
Great.
Vita and
game.
PlayStation 4.
Yep.
Is it on PlayStation 4 too?
Yeah, it should be. Well,
I'm going to be safe and just say Vita.
You have a PlayStation 4.
I have a PlayStation 4, but I haven't checked it. I know Vita for sure.
Yeah, it's for sure on the Vita. But either way, pick it up if you have a chance.
Very good game.
So next on the list, we got Battlefield Hardline.
Ugh. Battlefield Hardline.
This was developed by Visceral Games. So I believe it's not made by DICE at all. So this is Visceral Games.
Oh, so this is like this is a different. This is kind of the.
I don't know who they are.
DICE's B team.
I guess.
I've heard Visceral before. I think they. I don't know. I might be completely wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I think they kind of work on side stuff.
They might. I don't know.
Not as good games.
I'll take your word for it. I really don't know. And of course, it's published by EA.
Which I'm just gonna assume because I didn't think this was a very good game.
Yeah. And this game came out on March 17th. So Battlefield Hardline.
Battlefield
We
Hardline.
both played the beta, right?
We'll play the beta.
Yeah.
I didn't
and
go any more past the beta. Did not care for the game. Was not interested.
So
We'll tell you why.
from my experience with the beta, I hated it. I absolutely just shat all over the beta. I despised it. And that was mainly because, to me, I felt like I was playing Battlefield 4 with different maps. It was the exact same.
Not as good Battlefield 4 either.
No, yeah, it wasn't as good. I don't know, the gameplay felt clunky. The combat was just...
It doesn't look. It is surprisingly. It doesn't look real good on console. We played it on Xbox One. Does not look real good.
Maybe it's just Xbox, I don't know, but it did, from our experience, it didn't look good at all.
Yeah.
It didn't look good whatsoever. The game mode that we were playing in the beta, I think it was like the heist one, right? Where you go and like, you play as robbers and you go in, invade the bank, rob the bank, obviously, get the money.
There's the cops defending it.
And then you get out. It's essentially like a capture the flag, just like one way.
That was the best game mode. We love that game mode.
Yeah, well, I didn't like it at first.
I liked it at first.
So I ended up liking it after I rented the game and played more in the multiplayer. And I guess what did it for me, the reason why I changed my mind about the multiplayer and I started liking it more, was probably because, I don't know, I felt like once I actually had the game, I was starting to unlock more stuff. And, I don't know, I was starting to get more weapons and unlocking vehicles and different perks and everything. And it felt more polished after the beta. It felt like a lot more clean. It
The
ran
full
smoother.
game came out.
Yeah.
But I know exactly what you mean.
Like it grabbed me when I started playing it. And so I started playing more of the heist game mode, doing the cops and robbers crap, whatever. And that was, I'm not gonna lie, I had a great amount of fun for about 2-3 hours.
I agree with, even with the beta, I didn't love it, but I liked it a lot. I was like, this is a cool game mode. This would have been a cool
All right.
$10, no, not even $5 game mode if they would have added to Battlefield 4.
Yeah, and so that was fun. Like I said, about 2 or 3 hours. But the problem with this game is after that,
Everything else sucks.
there's nothing. I mean, it's just like,
This game has nothing to it.
like I said, that game mode was fun. But then it's
One
like
game
if you want to go play team deathmatch or classic conquest or
It's
anything.
all the same.
Well, I wouldn't even say the same. I'd say it's worse than Battlefield 4 because it's not like all-out warfare because you're cops and robbers, so you don't have like all the same like access to vehicles and all the weapons and all that.
That is true. I noticed that too. Now that you mention it, you didn't have
Like there's not like, I don't know, 3 or whatever, how many helicopters
there's
are
not that
Battlefield
much
4?
equipment either to unlock.
No, yeah, there's not. There's like, I believe each class had like 2 or 3 guns, something like that. And Battlefield 4 had a crap ton of guns.
Yeah, and I think every gun you could use for every class, so it didn't matter which class, you know.
Yeah. And so Battlefield Hardline, it's just like they stripped down a lot of stuff from Battlefield 4 in the sense of like guns and vehicles.
And the game mode sucked. There
Perks.
was a game. There's 2 game modes in particular that stuck out as awful in my game, or in my opinion, was there's one where you basically captured the car and drove around in the car and got points for that.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculously boring. Ridiculously boring, because once you're in the car and you're driving around and you have a decent driver and a decent squad in your car, I mean, we were just getting points after points after points, just racking up points. So easy, so not fun.
Yeah.
And then the second one was you had to go and you had to kill the other team's leader or their MVP. And the team that was protecting their leader had to get to a spot.
And they get
win the game.
And they get in the car, and all they have to do is maybe drive 100 meters, 200 meters.
Yeah,
It's really, they don't have to drive far at all. And once they drive off, it's over.
Yeah,
It's
and they could
done.
walk. They could walk too, like right across the map and get it.
Jesus.
So
So
it sucks. It's awful.
Yeah.
It's such a bad. That's such a poorly designed. Like every map is not. I think every map, except for some of the heist maps, are poorly designed.
Yeah.
Poorly designed. Like they just threw something there and said go.
I agree completely. And that game mode sucks because it could just end like in 2 minutes, 3 minutes. It ends so fast.
So multiplayer, the only redeeming thing was heist.
Yeah.
So
And
talk about that single player.
well, before getting to single player, there's one more thing I want to mention about multiplayer. The environments multiplayer weren't as destructible as Battlefield 4.
Oh really?
Yeah, they weren't.
I didn't notice that.
Like
That
just
sucks.
not everything like blows up or
So
just
taking more stuff out for a sequel, great, fantastic.
Yeah. So
Getting it right. Yeah,
stop
guys.
throwing that in there. That's pretty shitty. Single player, didn't care for at all. It was like a CSI sort of like.
It was a knockoff CSI.
Yeah.
I watched some stuff on it. Looked terrible.
Yeah.
To me, anyways, it didn't look like it was.
It was like
written well. It didn't. look intriguing.
It was like a run-of-the-mill like police drama you find nowadays on
Which
TV.
sucks because I mean that's again it's like they were kind of pushing the story on this, not pushing it, but they were they were really saying about their story.
Yeah, that was a big part of the game, like a big emphasis.
They were
on
like,
it.
they were like, we really, really want people to like our story, and we're putting a lot of work into it, and then that's what they give us.
Yeah.
Is this terrible true crime novel.
And it's funny because they wanted it to be like a TV series also, because instead of titling them like chapters or missions or anything, they were titled episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So you complete the first episode, and it has like kind of like a sort of cliffhanger ending, and then when you play the second episode, it recaps you on what happened in the first episode. So, like, I get like where they're trying to go with that. Like maybe like people will play like the story in episodes and then come back to it at a later time and get the recap of the story, which I guess is pretty cool. But again, it's not interesting.
The story's not that good.
Yeah,
it's not that interesting, and it's I saw some videos. And I saw what they were saying, and man, it looked like it was not written well. No. It really looked like a bad cop drama. With they tried to throw in Call of Duty moments where this big, massive stuff was happening,
I remember that.
And it was just ridiculous.
Yeah, there was a part of the game where you're in a helicopter and like you like jump down from the helicopter and like, you go in slow motion, and while you're falling like midair or something like that, or like you're ziplining or something, and you kill like 5-6 guys from maybe like 200 yards away with like a pistol with one hand. It's ridiculous.
I mean,
it's over the top, just Michael Bay sort of shit.
And exactly, even if you're gonna make it episodic, man, make each episode unique, a twist with the cop spin on it, but make it unique. You gotta write it well.
Yeah,
it's gotta be interesting, not a Call of Duty ripoff. And just absolutely ridiculous that this is a $60 game. This isn't an expansion. This is a game.
Yeah, so that's like the biggest issue with this game. I think we both have. It's $60.
Not at all.
Battlefield Hardline, $60 full retail. It's trash, man. It's not worth their money. It's not worth their money at all.
Absolutely garbage. Absolutely garbage. We're not trying to hate on Battlefield. When a good Battlefield
we used to like Battlefield.
Yeah, we really did. Even Battlefield 4 came out, had a ton of flaws, but again, we still really like the Battlefield multiplayer, the scale, the look of Battlefield, because it always looks pretty good.
Yeah, the sounds of the guns when you shoot them.
It's always a very, very fun and visceral experience. That's not the case for this one. This one sucks. It's boring. It's a $60 game. That blows my mind. This is not a $60 game.
Mm-mm. It's funny because I remember like when this game first came out, there's like pre-orders like on Xbox Store, and I'm sure there's pre-orders on PlayStation Store as well. You can pre-order digitally, and there was like $120 edition that came with
wow.
I don't know, I guess like a season pass, I'm assuming, with all the like all the maps and everything, bullshit like that.
Wow.
And I might be wrong, but I'm rethinking it came with like weapon shortcuts and all that crap and vehicle shortcuts.
I can't stand that. And if you're a game that releases weapon shortcuts
and vehicle shortcuts,
there's no point. You're automatically getting a knock. That's ridiculous. You cannot let people pay to win. That ruins multiplayer. Ruins it.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I don't understand why anyone in their right mind would buy that, because you're essentially, like, when you buy that, you have everything in the game. You have nothing to work towards.
Exactly, and that's it. That ruins the game. That ruins the game. That ruins the game for even the person buying it. They might think it's cool at first, but they're going to come to realize quickly that, oh, I have everything I need.
Yeah.
I don't want this. And then the people that they're playing against are going to be like, dude, what the hell? They have these weapons, and it's taking me a year to unlock the one extra weapon I can use.
Yeah, that's such bullshit, man. I hate that.
It's a really just fascinating from the publishers and the developer standpoint that they are putting out stuff like this and trying to charge you as much money as they possibly can.
Yes. It's just gross.
And I know it didn't do well on the PC, but it did very well on the consoles.
Yeah.
Because we wanted the next Battlefield game, and unfortunately we got should have been a $15, maybe a $10 expansion total.
Yep, comps from Roberts. So Battlefield Hardline, it's thumbs down.
Thumbs down. Do not get this game. Wait till it. I don't want to recommend this game because I just don't feel like people should buy it.
No, yeah.
I think you should not give these people your money.
Yeah, by the time the price even jumps down for this game, the next Battlefield will be out and hopefully be better.
And hopefully.
So
their track record ain't nice right now, though.
Yep. So that's everybody for Hardline. Next on the list, we got Bloodborne. And this is developed. The developer's name is From Software.
From Software. Publishers Sony's From Soft.
Yeah.
If you know the Dark Souls, you know who makes this. Miyazaki made this one. You know, he's a genius. Everybody loves him.
Yeah.
You know,
I
innovator of our time. Unfortunately, you've never experienced any of his games.
No, yeah, I haven't. I have Dark Souls literally loaded on my 360, and I haven't played it yet.
You should play it. That's a good game.
I'm
Don't
gonna
play
get
Dark
around
Souls
to
2.
playing it because right now I'm finishing up the last game on my Xbox One, and once I'm done with that, then I've basically completed all the games I want to complete on Xbox One. So I'm gonna go back to my 360 catalog and go through some games. And Dark Souls is definitely one of the top games I will play on 360 for sure.
Oh yeah. That's definitely, and again, Dark Souls, not Dark Souls.
Yeah, especially since Dark Souls 3 got announced. So
yeah, and that looks good. So hopefully, we'll see. 30 frames a second. I'm not happy with that.
It's 30 frames per second?
Dark Souls 3, yeah, it's 30 frames per second. 30 frames per second.
Why is it?
I can't give you a great reasoning. I think from his perspective, it's from 30 frames per second makes the game more, to him, it makes the game more movie aesthetic. It makes it more just, I don't know, cinematic. That's not the case. 60 frames per second for a third-person action RPG, you need that, especially for the combat, for how, Twitch reaction it is. You need stuff like that. 60 frames per second, if it's not 60 frames per second, that's a knock too. Can't have it.
Yeah, so...
enough. Yeah, let's go back to Bloodborne.
All right, so Bloodborne, you played it. Want to talk about it? What did you like? What did you didn't like?
Go ahead and talk about it. Might as well.
I don't got much input to put on it.
Might as well. Bloodborne is in the same vein from the Souls games. So it's a third-person action RPG. It's a difficult game. Very difficult. Just like all the other ones. It's a very, very fun game. It's a very, very cool game. If you like the Souls game, I recommend it. Because to me, Bloodborne... Well, I guess Bloodborne's third. So okay, so out of the real Souls, Bloodborne I guess would be third. Not because it's any worse, but because there's not as much to it as like there was in Demon Souls or Dark Souls.
Yeah.
But the Bloodborne combat is the best of all three. I love the Bloodborne combat.
Yeah.
I love how fast paced it is. I love the the quick, not twitch reaction, but how offense leads to victory instead of defense.
Yeah, and that's interesting. I brought that up because talk about the new element that they added in, where there's no shields.
Yeah, there's no shields.
Yeah.
So essentially, your guy is, again, his best defense is his offense, which in his left hand you can carry a gun, in his right hand you can carry a trick weapon, which is two weapons combined into one. So you have your normal movesets, and then you can switch over to your movesets and attack with another different set of movesets and a different weapon.
Yeah.
Which is really, really, really cool. I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's real badass. Because like you said, like in the previous ones, like Dark Souls, Demon Souls, and all that, it's much more defense first, offense afterwards.
Yeah. You wanna build up. You don't have to have a shield, but you want a shield. You are constantly watching your stamina and stuff. You have to get up your poise and stuff like that. You want the best armor, just because you want to be able to take a lot of damage, because you're going to take a lot of damage.
Yeah.
In Bloodborne, you want to be able to consistently do damage, so you can constantly, put their enemies on their back heel. Right. Essentially.
Yeah.
And I really, really, really love that with Bloodborne. Seriously.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So aside from Dark Souls and Demon Souls and all those ones, what does Bloodborne do differently, or probably better than all the ones?
Demon Souls and Dark Souls are kind of, they're real fantasy.
Yeah.
So they're sword, shield, dragons, mythical monsters,
right?
Stuff like that. Not really set in a realistic world. It's set in, again, a fantasy world. Bloodborne is set kind of in a Victorian era, Jack the Ripper era kind of theme, where it's kind of old London and it's real gothic architecture and it's real dark. The monsters are based on, I think not a lot of them are based on, but you can tell that there's definitely influences from H.P. Lovecraft. And stuff like with Cthulhu, a lot of squid monsters and, gods and humans having to getting powers from the new blood or turning into monsters like werewolves and stuff like that. It was really, really cool. Really, really dug it.
That's badass, man.
And it looks really, really good. The only problem with it graphically I have is up close. It doesn't look as good when you really look down at the details. It's not that detailed.
Yeah.
But again, the art style is amazing.
Yeah.
The worlds are amazing. The atmosphere is amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
Another knock, I guess, graphically or just technically would be, again, this game runs at a max 30 frames per second. So
that's a bummer, but
max 30 frames per second means that and I read up on this. It doesn't hit 30 frames per second often. So oftentimes it runs below 30 frames per second.
Yeah.
And that sucks when it comes to combat because the combat is so fast and it's so offense that if your frame rate stutters, that could be a big, big deal.
Yeah.
And it does tend to stutter a lot.
Yeah.
It's not crazy bad, but it's noticeable.
Yeah.
It'd be much better running at a higher frame rate.
Yeah. So,
but I really like the game.
Yeah, that's just like a minor knock on the game.
That's a minor knock on the game. I really, really enjoyed this game. A bigger knock would be the PvP, which I'm not going to go into too much just because the PvP was not done well at all. Typically in the Souls games, the PvP has always been kind of a meta universe where players abide by certain sets of rules, and there's stuff you can and cannot do, and it's just, different stuff. You can invade world. Co-op is a big part. PvPing, where you go into arena or you summon somebody to fight with you or against you. Bloodborne, it makes it really, really difficult.
Yeah.
Really, really difficult for player versus player or even co-op. I really did not like that. They really, really did not want you to do that in this game. It seems like.
That's strange. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
What would be the reason for that?
I really have no clue. I just think, I kind of think Bloodborne was an in-between game between Dark Souls and Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
So I think this was a game kind of to just hold us over, and they didn't put a lot into PvP, which I'm sad about. But it's still a very, very good game. Yeah. I really, really recommend it if you like the Souls game because it's different. It's different enough to change it up, but it's still the same kind of Souls spiritual thing,
Yeah.
So if you like the Souls game, I recommend Bloodborne.
Would you say it's more difficult than the other ones or less difficult?
No, I actually think because of how it is, I find it a little easier almost because I think the bosses are really good in Bloodborne 2. I think they're better than in like Dark Souls 2. I don't know. I like it more. I like the combat. The combat's my favorite by far. I really, really like the speed of it. And to me, the speed of it makes the combat a little bit easier for me, and especially the trick weapons where it's fast, and then you switch to slow attacking weapon, then you can switch back real quick, fast.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed that.
So, nothing but good things about Dark Souls besides frame per second, but who cares? It's a good game,
Bloodborne, good game. Again, but if PvP is what you're looking for, stay away from Bloodborne. It's not a PvP game. Not fun.
Not. All right, so thumbs up for Bloodborne.
Thumbs up.
Yeah,
PS4 exclusive.
Definitely pick it up. Yeah, PlayStation 4. A lot of these games have been Sony, right?
PS4's knocking it out. The good ones.
Right.
The good ones are knocking it out of the park.
Let's see, what else we got? Okay, yeah, so all the other ones from now on are all multi-platform. So that's about it for PlayStation exclusives. Next game we got is Slender the Arrival. Now,
done. I'm so sick of it.
Yeah, I'm done with it.
And this is why. So, who's it developed by?
It's developed by Blue Isle Studios, and I couldn't find a publisher on it because I think it's just an indie studio. And it came out March 26th for Xbox One. This game came out, I believe, in 2013 from what I looked up.
We're not trying to knock the indies. We get it. Independent game development's cool. But stop trying to capitalize on Slender. This was not a fun game. You tried to give Slender a story. Not very good. This was a boring game.
Hell yeah.
So boring. The opposite of scary. I would say Resident Evil was scarier than this game. Seriously.
Yeah, it's... God damn. So, where do we begin with this game? Of why it was so boring?
So first off, there's a lot of... They try to do it as tension building, but the world sucks. The world really sucks. It doesn't look good, and it's just not an interesting world.
There's not even much to look at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, really. You start off just walking in orange woods, where it's just, I guess it's fall or autumn, and it's just it sucks. It sucks. I hate the world. I hate this world because it's not interesting.
Yeah.
And then you're basically, you walk, and then this is the beginning of the game. You walk and you find a house. You go in the house, and creepy stuff starts to happen, and then it turns night. Ooh, Slender, there's Legend of Slender. I'm sick of it, dude. It's graphically, it doesn't look very good.
Yeah, I mean, it's just...
It's slow.
Just blah.
It's slow. It does not do good at... Like, I'll give you an example. Gone to Rapture is another PS4 game. Like, a great one at that. A game I'm playing right now where it's similar, where you're really just walking around investigating what happened and this and that. But that game is doing such a great job of building tension. Such a great job.
Yeah.
I love the environment. I love the kind of, the hints at what's happened in this world. That is that type of game done right. Where if you're going to just have walking and tension building, then you have to do it right. This game gets it wrong. So boring.
And it's really boring because you're just literally walking around in the woods,
collecting stuff,
collecting pages that are nailed to like the bark of the tree. Looking for a page just like in a restroom out in the middle of nowhere, a page just in a house, an abandoned house. You're just looking for these pages to like this book.
I went into a basement. They're trying to expand on the Slender thing, and Slender was an okay indie game because it did a good job of building tension. Mainly because it threw you in the woods at night and you didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, and when you saw Slender Man, he was scary because that was the first time for most of us ever seeing him.
Yeah.
He's like a tall, like 7 foot, like obviously slender figure. He's got a tuxedo or something. And he just looks creepy. He has like there's a blank face. You know. And
I thought the music was done a little bit better in the first one, even though it's essentially one thing. It's creepy, and it creeped me out every single time I heard it. And The Arrival, not creeped out by anything. Seriously, not scared of anything in this game. Nothing in this game has scared me.
Yeah, Slender Man, more than anything, is annoying.
Yeah, really and truly, because you run into him, fuzzes your screen.
Yeah, and then you try running away, and your screen starts becoming unfuzzed, and then he teleports in front of you. And then again, you turn around, change direction, run away, teleports, gets in front of you, and it's like, dude, like you're not scary, you're just a big pain in my ass right now.
Yeah, no joke. Seriously, this was a game that, again, I feel like first one was a gimmick game. They tried to capitalize with The Arrival, a story. I don't care about the story again because it's not interesting. I don't care about the story.
Yeah.
So a walking simulator with some supposed to be scary parts. There's actually another monster besides Slenderman in it, which you found in the basement. It was like a hooded monster. Again, it kind of worked differently because you needed to shine your light and then run away. But it wasn't fun. I didn't have fun playing this game. I had no fun.
And a lot of things that makes it boring is that, like I mentioned earlier, there's pages that you have to find.
Yeah, where it's a fetch quest, essentially fetch quest.
And there's no, I'm pretty sure I'm not mistaken with this, but there's no hints or any direction that the game gives you to go where to find these pages, to go about where to, to look for them.
So you just kind of look around until you find it, which could be quick. It could be long.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's literally just an open woods area, and then it ventures off to, like, different areas, I think. Like, there's, like, a lake that I went by. But still, like, even, like, if you're at a different area of the game, like, near a lake or something, it's still an open map. And you have to look around for...
Fuck you, Slender Man.
You have to look around for these pages in the dark and just shining your flashlight.
Man. Not fun. It's not fun at all.
Yeah, and I mean, the fun in the game is supposed to come from the horror, but...
It's a white pedophile chasing you.
Yeah.
It's an 8-foot-tall NBA player chasing you in a suit.
Yeah,
like, seriously, this is so not fun. And so I played a little bit more. So I got down into the basement and down into other areas where, man, just not fun. You have to, so down in the basement, you basically turn on 6 generators. So instead of pages, you have to go turn on generators so you can go up. And then I got into a cornfield area with, like, a farm. And, again, the creepiest thing there was something in the cornfield. But, again, wasn't very creepy. It just kind of killed me, and I didn't know anything was coming after me. And I'm like, all right, well.
How lazy are these developers? Like, you know what I mean? It's like I want to know what goes on when they go and, like, they pitch their next idea for their sequel, their next game, you know what I mean? Like, they go into their little creative room wherever they come up with ideas and be like...
It ain't very creative.
Hey, what should we do instead of having pages? What should we have the player find and look for?
Generators. Oh,
like,
man.
Like,
revolutionary.
Like, seriously, that's I'm pretty sure that's what they say when they're in there. Generators. And then the guy next to him is like, you know what? Screw it. That'll work.
Yeah.
And that's it. And they put it in the game. And the no people buy it is because it has the name Slender slapped on it. You know what I mean?
Seriously, I mean, no joke. People associate Slender with scary now. I mean, this game literally is point A, you start off, find pages. All right, let's walk a little bit. Walk a long while. Point B, find some more stuff. Like, I want to see what the guy who made this game thought. He was like, man, fantastic.
You know what would be fun? If we put the player in a dark environment, leave a huge-ass map for them to wander around in, and let's just make them look for stuff.
And jump scares. Jump scares everywhere.
Cheap jump scares at that.
Cheap jump scares.
Yep.
Cheap jump scares. I don't think the Slender Man builds tension. I just think it's not a very good game.
No, not by...
Doesn't look nice.
Any stretch.
The environment is not cool. The story's not cool. The gameplay is boring. It's really, really, really just them trying to capitalize on that first Slender. So this is a huge thumbs down.
And hey, it might have worked because they got my money for it. I paid like I think $7 for it.
Oh, same. That's why we're telling y'all thumbs down.
Yeah, thumbs down.
Because I paid so disappointed.
Yeah.
So disappointed.
Might be a little too late by the time this podcast comes out. You might have already bought and played it.
But if there's something else with the Slender name attached to it, don't bother with it because I don't see this gimmick getting fresh again. It's stale. It's old. It's done.
Yeah, so Slender on the Arrival, big thumbs down. Sucks my booty hole. It blows. It just does everything wrong that a game could do wrong, basically.
Sucks, dude.
So, running about the 45-minute mark. I think that's about it for this podcast.
That's it.
We talked about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. About 6 games this podcast.
Next podcast, we're going to bring you. What do you want to bring? The rest of them?
The next we got
a list right here for y'all.
We're
professional.
We got Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin.
Gonna shit on that.
In case y'all don't know, it's like the remastered edition for next gen. So he's got a couple things to say about that because he's played it.
Fuck that game.
So we got that for y'all. We're gonna talk about Mortal Kombat X. There might be a little surprise in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, you'll see about that. We don't know yet.
A little surprise after that.
Goat Simulator. We wrote Goat Simulator down on here. Goat Simulator.
God damn it. Yeah. So we
just kidding. We're not gonna fuck with Goat Simulator. If you bought Goat Simulator, then I'd go watch something else, please.
And then after that, we got Wolfenstein: The All Blood, and we might have time for this next game. I'm not sure, but just in case we don't.
Next 3 games are big.
Yeah,
they're big games. We're gonna Huge go games. Real in depth on all 3 of these games. We might have to do. I don't know when we're gonna get that to y'all.
So get your bodies ready for this. It's gonna be really.
Get them ready.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good game, everybody. Alright, so thank you for watching Guys Being Dudes Gaming Podcast 6. What number podcasts are in the world? 5, 4, 3, 2. What number podcasts are we in the world? What number? Like number 1?
Is that even a question? Number 1.
I think so.
I think number 1.
I think it's first.
Listen,
number 1. So
number 1, the best, the truth. We're not paid yet.
No. Yet. Yeah. You know what? Screw it. This podcast is brought to you by Nestle. Drink the water. It's
all right.
It's really good. It's healthy for you.
7 out of 10.
No, but seriously though, thank you guys if you're watching this. Appreciate it.
A comment, subscribe, criticize. We like criticism.
Please thumbs up this video if you like it.
Don't be an asshole.
And if you like what we're talking about or you think what we're talking about is interesting, please let your friends know. Share this video with anybody that likes games.
Yeah, please do.
Anybody that's into gaming videos, anything gaming related, just show them our podcast.
We were inspired to do this by some other people who told the truth about games, and now we're doing it.
Yeah,
so share it, spread it, let's go.
Yeah, we're just here to give our unbiased opinions about games. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next episode.